Hey guys, I am here with Kate Thompson. Kate, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Oh, that's very good to hear. Now, this is going to be a bit of a change of pace, as you can see. We're not talking about games that you necessarily play on the computer, although I'm sure you could do that. We're going to talk about some board game stuff today, which I wish I had more time and or friends to do that with, but I'm lonely, and I can't do that. But hopefully, maybe, with something like the Nova Scotia Board Game Society, I'll be able to find something like that. Tell us a little bit about yourself and that, which I just talked about, Nova Scotia Board Game Society, what that's all about, and how you got into all this fancy boxing.
Yeah, so I got into board games probably about 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay, so this wasn't like I was 5 years old and really wanted to play Monopoly.
Well, you know, I played Monopoly and all that stuff like a normal kid did.
Okay.
And got in fights with my brother and
should.
swore that I would never play it again. But I really got into the hobby about 7 or 8 years ago when I met my friend and the current president of the Nova Scotia Board Gaming Society, Jason Fawcett. He is a board game collector.
Okay.
He just recently purchased his 150th board game, so he has like quite a collection of board games.
Now, does he open said board games? Is he one of those people that buy 2 of everything so that he can play with one and then have one in like a fine mahogany glass box?
As far as I know, that is not the case, and that would be a huge space requirement with board games.
Hey, like crazier things have happened.
Yeah, no, so he likes to play board games quite a lot.
I imagine.
And he used to have these periodic events, day-long board gaming events in his house, in his basement, where we would play board games all day long. And those were called Boardgasm. So that's something that we're going to talk about. We've opened up Boardgasm to the public now.
That is a great name.
Yeah, that's become a big event that we do 4 times a year as well.
Excellent. Okay.
So yeah, so these events started in Jason's basement. And then after a while, we wanted to continue growing, and so we decided to start the Nova Scotia Board Gaming Society. Okay. And that's how it all came about.
And now here we are.
Here we are.
Talking about board games. It's amazing how that works, isn't it? So I mean, I can take a wild stab at what the Nova Scotia Board Game Society's goals might be, but just in case, there's some extra little piece that I'm missing, what do you guys aim to actually accomplish? Are you, like you just mentioned, one of the events that you might do, but do you aim to do a number of events, and do you go to certain other events, like maybe like a HalCon and things like that?
For sure. So our main goal is to just spread the word about board gaming and sort of promote it, hopefully by teaching people how to play board games and showing them what board games exist and giving them an opportunity to learn and play them. So Boardgasm, the event that we have 4 times a year,
no longer held in his basement?
It's no longer in Jason's basement.
All right. No, that would have been a great story. And it's still held in this guy's basement. It's a huge
Cram
basement
50
party.
people in there.
Exactly.
And it gets all sweaty and gross.
Why not? No. Why not? That wouldn't be out of the ordinary for people that play games, for sure.
Not really, no. So now, we have these events 4 times a year. Now they're usually at Quantum Frontier or at Games People Play. That's where we've been hosting them. And so we schedule games all throughout the day, so you can come in and take a look at the list that is scheduled, see if you're interested in learning how to play any of those games. And when you show up for the game, there's somebody there who knows how to play it, teaches everybody how to play, and you play the game.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good time, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. Normally I would lie to you, believe it or not. But I'm not this time. I'm being very truthful. You also do Boardpocalypse. Is that like where everybody wears really awesome armor and then goes and like tries to destroy somebody else's home using board games?
That's
like what exactly happened?
Yeah, that's basically.
Is that how it is?
Yeah,
well, good. Moving on. No, but what is Boardpocalypse all about?
Boardpocalypse is an annual event, so we do this one time a year. We just did it yesterday, midnight. Well, Saturday night at midnight.
Oh, that's one of those like semantic things where you can be like, well, it's
so this
Sunday.
past weekend, we just did it. So that it was February 20th to the 22nd. Okay. It's a 60-hour live streamed board gaming marathon.
Wow.
where we are raising money for Child's Play charity.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've heard of Child's Play
Sure have,
before.
absolutely.
Yeah, so they donate games, toys, and things like that to children's hospitals around North America, including the IWK. And also they've branched out to doing the same thing for women's shelters. So children who are in hospitals or in women's shelters are in very stressful life situations, and they need to relax.
They need board games.
They need to relax and have fun like kids. And they do board games and video games and iPads and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's what Boardpocalypse is. We just did that.
Excellent. And was it a success?
It was a success. We raised $3,600 approximately, a little bit over that this year. In total, across the 4 years that we've been doing it, we've raised just under $9,000.
Wow.
So
sounds
it's
like
a very small. It's a very small event still, but we're growing.
Hey, any amount of money, any amount of money for a charity is a good amount of money. There's no
true.
such thing as too little for that.
Yeah.
Now, board games, coming from somebody who plays a lot of just straight up video games,
Sure.
and as we discussed before this interview, I don't exactly have a lot of time, nor do I have a lot of people to play said board games with. You know, with video games being so popular and stuff now, although I must say that it seems like more people are starting to play board games again, is there a reason you think that's happening? You know, what's happening? What's the battle like? Is there a lot of crossover, people that play games that are also now getting into board games, or what's that been like?
I think the audience is similar. Like they're both games, they're just different kinds of games, right? And so I think that somebody who is interested in video games could just as easily be interested in board games. And I kind of I relate it to how, you know, you might have a particular genre of video game that you like to play and another genre of video game that you don't really like to play. So it's possible that you might like some board games and not others, but there's definitely a board game that you will like, and there's a genre that is like
somewhere out there is a board game for me.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not Monopoly, but it's out there somewhere. It's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And is there like some you know, intangible aspect of board gaming that you think it has, you know, a one-up on video gaming, perhaps like playing in person? Because there used to be a time where video games, believe it or not, you were able to play with friends on a couch.
Yeah.
That's apparently no longer a thing that companies feel we want to do, so they just axe that pretty much all together.
Do you think that doesn't? So this is something that I had been thinking about. I'm like, what is the difference between video games and board games? And one of them is like there's this box of things that you physically move around, whereas video games is like a digital thing. But a lot of people say now that the big draw for board games is that you get to sit around a table with your friends and like have a actual in-person interaction.
Absolutely.
Which is fun. But when you think about what video games used to be or what they started as, that is what they started as.
Exactly.
It was sitting around in the living room with my little brother, like playing Mario and stuff like that.
And that needs to happen again.
I think so. I think that that's the fun thing. It's like a battle of wits against your friends in person.
Sure, and they're within physical reach.
Yeah.
If you need to like break out sick kung fu moves because they just took Boardwalk, you can do that.
You can do it.
I wish I had more board gaming references. Apparently Monopoly is the only one I've got in my arsenal. Like that's the entirety of that. Could I use like Trouble or something? Is
sure.
Okay.
What about Risk? You said you played Risk.
Yes,
right?
that's true. Yes, Risk as well. Never start a land war in Asia. I
He knows that one.
Is the statement to make.
That is what they say.
What do you have coming up here? Do you like? I mean, what do you really think? I guess is more what I want to say about some of the cafes and stuff that are starting to open up here in Halifax, because there are two-ish ones right now?
Yeah, there's I guess. So we're talking about the Boardroom Cafe. That's the big one that just opened up, which is a cafe where they have a giant board game library and their staff is knowledgeable about board games. So you go there, have a coffee or a beer or a glass of wine, some snacks.
Water only.
Yeah, not water.
Only water.
Yeah, oh, that's
just water. No such thing as alcohol.
I think they do have water if that's what you want.
Said nobody ever, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. But so it's a really great, welcome, friendly atmosphere where you can go and learn how to play a game because the staff can teach you how to play. There's also Games People Play that opened up not too long ago. I think just over a year ago, if I'm correct. And at Games People Play, you can also go and play board games there as well. We hold a lot of our events, like I said, at Quantum Frontier. Every Tuesday night at Quantum, there's a board game night. You can go for free and just play board games at Quantum. Monster Comic Lounge has a board game night as well.
So there's lots of
opportunities
anyway.
And these types of things. So the board game cafe, usually you'd show up with a group, but on Monday nights they have open gaming, so you can just show up if you don't have anybody who necessarily wants to come with you. I don't know if you know anybody who has
just
that
social
kind of
outcast.
But yeah, you can just show up and play with whoever's like a lot of people just come and show up and play.
So
games
that would be like your pitch to like a newbie who has no idea what they're doing and no friends in the world, is to just leave Imager for like 5 minutes and take a bus and hop into a cafe and play with a bunch of random strangers.
Yeah, or attend one of our events.
Right.
Boardgasm, International Tabletop Day is coming up soon as well.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah, so you can just go to one of those events and play, meet new friends, meet new people, have a lot of fun, drink some coffee.
Or water or anything, whatever. So where can people reach you in the Nova Scotia Board Gaming Society and everything else? So where can they catch up with, maybe what events you've got coming up in the future?
Sure thing. We have a website, nsbgs.org.
Great acronym.
Yeah, but we also have a Facebook group, so you can just do a search on Facebook for the Nova Scotia Board Gaming Society. If you want to join the group, you can, and then you'll get all the updates about all of our events. We're on Twitter, @Boardgasm. That's our Twitter account.
Might as well use that name as much as you can.
Yeah, we really like it.
It's a fantastic name.
Yeah.
Now, one last question before we go. I'm going to add this one in here. Best board game of all time.
Ooh, I always get asked that question, like, what's your favorite board game?
It's like me getting asked favorite video game. It's a really tough question. All right, if you can't say one.
I can say one.
Oh, you can? Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say maybe like
it's difficult, but it's it's doable.
Okay, so what is the one?
I'll give you my answer. And I actually have the game, but decided not to put it up here.
Okay, all right. Well, that would be too biased, I'm sure.
My favorite board game ever. Are you going to hand it to me?
Our producer is on. Look at that. That looks fancy and complicated.
This right here is my favorite board game ever. It's called Agricola. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's basically farming the board game. So I know that it sounds super interesting already.
So this is like Farmville.
The board game.
The board game.
Let's not make that association.
Okay. Hey. Is this only Farming Simulator 2014?
Yeah. This is what's called a Euro-style worker placement game. And you're just building your own little farm. The reason this is my favorite game, it's been rated really highly on Board Game Geek, which is a great website to go to. Yeah, that's the website to go to check out board games. It's been rated really highly on there for a long time, but the reason that it's my favorite game is because it's the first board game that I played that I really, really fell in love with. So a lot of the games that we're talking about, like Monopoly and stuff, people kind of really hate those games. They play them for some reason, but they're kind of, they're not really that challenging. They're just mostly annoying.
Yeah, pretty much.
This game is really, really challenging. It requires a lot of thought. It's like a puzzle, and I just found it really engaging. And this is the first game that I was like, there's some interesting things that you can do with board games.
Fantastic.
So it's not necessarily like a game that I play a lot anymore.
Right.
But I'd say it's my favorite one.
It's your top tier?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, the more you know, guys. All these games that I've never heard of.
There's hundreds.
Endless board games. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate coming in here and talking with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
And now I need to go and find like 6 days of my life to play board games.
We'll see you at the next Boardgasm, right?
Absolutely. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Well, that's going to be it for this week here at the Game Code. A big thanks goes out to Kate Thompson for joining us here in studio. That was an absolute blast. As always, please let us know on Facebook and Twitter if you're enjoying the show or have any ideas for us. And until next time, I'm your host, Adam Morehouse. Have a good one. It's not happening. I'm not going to do the Jimmy Fallon whatever, like hashtag. No, it's not going to. When I saw them do this, I wanted to punch them. Like, this is so dumb.